Let's talk about the Power Automate for beginner, in fact. So I'm in a SharePoint site and I'm going to open a SharePoint list. So for instance, I have this one, company staff, with a few columns. Some of them has formatting, some of them have a date. And then at the top here, we can see my toolbar. And we always have, so you wouldn't have these icons, but I always have Automate now, which is Power Automate, right? And when I say for beginner, it's because the SharePoint and Power Automate has detected that I have some columns that can be quite useful to just do a quick automation. And the quick automation is set a reminder, for instance. So I check my columns. I'm like, yeah, medical visit. I could have a reminder for my medical visit. So let's just remind ourselves what it is. If I go, no, I don't want to comment. If I go into my my item, I have date for hiring, date of birth, and then scrolling down, I have medical visit. So I can see that this person, this employee, has had a medical visit in September 29. So I'm going to tell him that the next time you need to have a medical visit is going to be September 2021. So what would be really nice is that I get alerted, I get reminded before the medical visits. So automate, set a reminder, and I'm going to set a reminder on the medical visit. So it means in all the items in this view, it will go ahead and send me reminder when we are approaching. So as always in Flow, I've been showing this a few times, but I always tend to give a name because otherwise we have no idea. So in my case, I'm going to say it's a dev, and then I would say company staff. So at least I know where is this Power Automate going to have an action on. So it will only action on this site and this list. Then what we do is get an email reminder for medical visit. In fact, it's not for, it's before medical visits date. So it's very clear. In the flow name, we know exactly what it's doing. How many days in advance? So actually, I want to have this 10 days before the medical visit, and I just create it. So I didn't do any programming, nothing. That's it. My Power Automate is created. Now let's have a look how I can see it and maybe change things. So I'm not going to go to set a reminder because it would create one, but I'm going to go to Power Automate and just see my workflow, my flows. I could do exactly the same if I was to go into the menu here and then open Power Automate. Okay, so it's just a quick shortcut. Automate, Power Automate, see your flows. So now we are seeing all the flows across all my environment, not always having an action on SharePoint. They could have an action on lots of other things, as you can see in my list, which is why now you can see why I'm prefixing the Power Automate quite well. And if I click on the little edit here, I'll be able to see what it's doing. So that's great, because all I really cared was if I'm in the scope here, it's really getting me the item, and it's sending me a reminder. That's really what I cared for, is that it's sending me a reminder a few days before the expiry, the medical visit date. So I could actually just go here and modify it's an HTML. I could modify the code here to receive a better message. But that allows me to understand everything it's doing. So for instance, I was saying 10 days. So if I wanted to modify this, I just change it to 5 days before, save it, test it, and it will be back again sending me a reminder. Okay, so that's a quick introduction how I managed to do all these things with codes, with condition. If it's a yes, no, is going to do this. If the item has been, if the visit date is approaching, with absolutely no code.